Welcome back. Thank you for stopping back. I never thought you guys would come back. JK, I knew you guys would come back. Today is part 2 of my what I thought I should have known when I was younger. I'm here for everybody and I got y'all back. So I'll be talking about the finance part, about everything. Golden rule number 1, which applies to everything that you will be financing from a bank, is have 20% down of what you are going to purchase. What I mean by 20% down is, let's say you are getting a car for 40 grand. 20% of that would be how much? So save that amount. I can't think of the amount off the top of my head because I ain't no mathematician, but just think of that amount. And if when you do come up with that amount, that's when you can put that down towards the $40,000 car and get that car. Let me talk a little terminology about what that means. So when I came up here, I had no idea how to buy a car. I had no idea where the hell to start. And this is stuff like I feel young people should know before they step out their parents' house. There are companies that would promote stuff that you can buy. You don't have to necessarily have 20% of that to necessarily purchase it. It's just a promoted thing. Or you could have 10%. You don't have to have anything down towards it. That's no problem. But the trap with this thing is when you don't have anything down, or when you have less than 20% down, you end up paying more per month on that item. And let's say you had $1,000 but you want to buy a $40,000 car. Yes, you could get approved and get that, but what will your monthly payments be? Your monthly payments would probably be something like, depending on what you get approved for on your credit, $300-400 easily per month, not including insurance. I personally don't think that's a good monthly payment for young people, especially if they're hunting for money. Young people, before you get anything, without a co-signer, you will need some type of credit. You cannot get a car loan or a house loan or any loan without some type of credit. If you do not plan to use a co-signer, first of all, you have to build your credit. Yes, it's credit is a very dangerous thing to deal with if you don't know what you're doing. But if you know what you're doing, you could balance out everything and everything will work out just fine. Now let me say this. A lot of these new cars and a lot of these nice cars that you see people buying, they don't own them. Some people do. Let me say some of the probably the retired people do. But majority of the people in the cars that you're seeing don't own them. They're still making payments on them. Personally, when I was younger, I thought everybody that was driving like the baddest, the newest ride paid cash for this, and I was like, how they pay for this? So nobody told me the bank basically gives the car dealership a check and then you owe the bank money. Nobody told me that, and that's basically what it is. The bank gives the car dealership or whatever, most times it's the car dealership, a check for the difference that you don't pay, and then you pay the bank. And that is how repos and stuff happens. Repossessions. Let's say you missed your monthly payment 3-4 times, so you're back 3-4 months of payments on your car. The bank is going to take your car because it's technically their car. They help you pay for your car. You don't want that on your credit report, because if you get a repo on your account, it's hard to do anything else. That's basically a stain on your credit report. And I say stain because if you go to do anything else, like certain apartments and like certain houses, certain things, you can't do with that stain on your credit because they're gonna say, oh, she has a repo. We don't trust her. She might not pay us. That's why it's important to look into all of that. When I came up here, I never looked into getting a brand new car. That was just not my thing because I know I couldn't afford it. I had credit. Due to my student loans, I had good credit. I wanted something that I could just get from point A to point B. I didn't need something super pricey because first of all, I still don't have my own place. I'm in an apartment. And second of all, I wanted to save enough money so I could just get a car. Now what I did is I used Google and I researched how to buy a car because nobody was there. Literally nobody was there to teach me how to buy a car. My boyfriend came along a little ways, but absolutely nobody was there to teach me how to buy a car. So I saw and I read and I researched and I looked around. Not only are there new car dealerships, that's most of what you see when you go out and stuff. There are smaller mom and pop and sometimes just better known used car dealerships, which I would recommend young people if you guys want a nice car. It doesn't always have to be new. I would recommend starting off with a used car. Doesn't have to be a raga. It just has to be a nice, good condition used car. And I would recommend any young person to start off with that if they are hurting for money, or if you're looking into like not fully spending all your savings into a car. My car, it's a 2005. It was $5,000 and I didn't have $5,000 at the time. I didn't want to go through another winter without a car. Okay, so how would I get this $5,000 car? I wouldn't have $5,000 before winter. 20% of the $5,000 was basically $1,000-ish. So I saved that within a month because I wasn't paying anything else. And I put that down towards the car. Most car companies will not take cash. So make sure you at least have a working bank account or at least a money order or a check to give to your car dealership. When you're purchasing a car, make sure you test drive it, because it could look nice on the outside, but as soon as you get in, all the mechanics on the bottom may not always be up to par. If you don't know what you're doing, take somebody with you that does know what they're doing, especially with a car. Listen for everything, turn on the lights, look in the trunk, look at the tires. It depends on where you live in the country, all that stuff. If everything checks out and you talk to the dealer, they're basically gonna ask you when you can pick it up, because they have to go to the DMV, do all the paperwork for you. It will be the car's price plus a little bit more fees, but it's not that much. And then that will be the grand total of the car. And then you will give them your 20% and that will deduct some of the total. So in my case, it brought down my total to like 4,440 something. What the dealership would do is they would call around banks to see which one would give you a loan, which one would approve you for a loan. You would call the bank that gave you the loan and they would ask you what you want to do. If you want to pay 6 years for $100 a month, or like a year for like $500 a month. It really depends. And ask questions if you're not sure, and don't go outside your budget. Like don't hang your hat where your hand can reach. It's a Caribbean saying. Just make sure you make a smart decision on that. 2-3 days later, after the DMV paperwork works out and you get your license plate and all that, the car is yours. Also, make sure you get good insurance as well. With a car that you're making payments on, you cannot get basic insurance. There's just absolutely no way, because it is not your car. You will have to purchase premium insurance, and sometimes it depends on your age and driving history. It could be expensive. What I have found to reduce your insurance is that you can take that AAA defensive driving course or just a general defensive driving course. Just look into other ways that you can decrease your insurance rate. Now, in terms of a house, I am right now in the process of just looking at houses, not saving yet, but it is technically the same thing. You will hear terms like mortgage and refinance and realtor and all of that. In the house world, your realtor is like your car salesperson. They're gonna try to sell you the house. Open house and your house viewing is kind of like your test drive of the car. You go in, you see what the house is about, you see if it needs repairs, you see how much it costs. Your down payment is your down payment, and the 20% rule still applies. So if you're looking at a $2,000 home, that is about $20,000 to $22,000, 20% to get down. If you put down 20% on a home, the monthly payments will be there, but they will be much lower, significantly lower. When you put everything down on the house, you sign your deed or your lease, I'm really not sure, somebody can correct me, and then the home is yours. Depends on where you live, you have to pay homeowners fees. That's a general rule of thumb, and I hope somebody learned something from it, because I definitely did. Nobody taught me this stuff. I'm still learning. I just did a lot of research and a lot of reading. I am trying to explain it as best and as simple as I can. So that's it, guys. My next video, I will talk about life stuff in general, but I still have time to change it. Having children and getting married. I have no rings. See you guys in the next one. Bye. Outside has light. It's only 4:30. Outside has light. It's only 4:30.